Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we talk to entrepreneurs about how they became successful today. And I have with me my amazing friend Spencer, and I'll hand it over to him to introduce himself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So I've been in the marketing world for quite a long time now. I was a digital nomad apparently before the term existed, and I try to shed that term off whenever I hear it, but I just have to accept that that's what it's considered. Lived around the world, traveled around the world. This has been the past, wow, almost 14 years now, 13 years now. So yeah, I was doing the digital virtual stuff since before it was normal. And that's it. So we've helped a lot of brands scale using paid advertising, sales consulting, operational philosophy, and that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. So, how did you even learn all of those things that you're helping businesses with now?
Yeah, you got to break a lot of things. So you got to be comfortable and uncomfortable with things just going wrong, day to day business,
Hmm.
and learning why, what to do about it, investing, right? And yeah, it's a game that never ends, truthfully. But I think, to be honest with you, how did I actually get started? If I went way back, this was like before personal brands. I was doing network marketing at the time with a company called Vima, which is crazy. I met a but someone watching will remember that. And yeah, I met a bunch of like young dudes driving around in Lambos and Rolls Royces. And this is before personal brands were a thing. It was just kind of starting. Instagram wasn't really a thing. And yeah, it kind of showed me like there's different ways to make money. And I wanted to figure it out online. And then that led into content, agency, and that kind of thing.
It's funny because so many people I know who are entrepreneurs did some sort of network marketing MLM thing at one time. I did it. We've all been there. But hey, you learn a lot about business, whether it's what are the right things to do or the wrong things to do.
Yeah, 100%. Now we're all focused on growing our own businesses, right? So that's the cool thing. That's the difference.
So after that network marketing job, like, did you start in sales or like where did you go from there?
Yeah, I've always kind of done little things here and there. It's kind of funny when I think back to like all the things I've actually done. My goodness. The only professional sales I've done from the standpoint of like an actual job, I'll be honest with you, I haven't actually had a job since I was like 24 years old. I mean, I'm 34 now, so that's like 10 years. And back then, I think I was selling my friends on helping me with little businesses. Like from my mid teens to like early 20s, I was always doing something. Like I had a wedding setup company at one point in time where we would set up like all the tables and chairs, and it was like literally my friends and me just doing it. And we were making great money, hanging out, having fun. But it was always little things like that. So I think I naturally learned to sell myself. I also do have a little history in my family to where my grandpa actually had a water filtration plant, a water store in our hometown. Interesting story if you wanted to Google it. In Simi Valley, California, there was a nuclear meltdown in the 70s or the 80s. And so it's known to be a possible radiation area. And so my grandpa was smart and he built a water filtration store to sell drinking water at that time because he was an engineer at that facility that had the meltdown. So, very interesting guy. My grandma was super interesting. They started some entrepreneurial stuff way back, had a health food store that turned into other things. And then my dad had a construction company. And when I was younger, he got really sick. And so I think because of that, it made me very prone to doing business and to wanting to do business. I probably had natural sales skills that I wasn't really aware of at the time. Because a lot of the things that I do think are common sense, like tend to not be so common in the sales world when I see them. And so, yeah, I think I kind of had some of those bones in my body. I was kind of surrounded by some of those people. And the next natural thing was to get into like marketing and understanding human behavior and psychology. And that's where it all kind of developed. So, yeah, but I had a string of just like random things, random businesses, random jobs way back. I went to university for random things that we could get into if we wanted to. And all of that led into the digital world of sales consulting, coaching. I have to coach a lot of CEOs and of sales teams and digital offers and local businesses. And like, I've kind of done it all in a really weird way.
Wow, that's amazing. So what is your niche now? Like, who do you serve?
So our main thing is info products. I love it and I hate it. I love the aspect that it's infinitely scalable. I love it when it's a good ethical brand, but obviously information kind of goes stale and things change like any business. And so, yeah, that's our main bread and butter right now. But we've also worked with some very interesting brands. Like I was working with a company who was drop shipping forklifts at a very high level. They were doing almost $2 million a month, and we probably easily could have broken $10 million a month, but there were some internal company things that happened. And so, like, was that an info product? No. Was that a digital business? No. But it was advertising around something that could be fulfilled at scale and drive a ton of revenue, right? And so that's just one of like the very interesting businesses we've worked with. But yeah, we do a lot of info now.
And I know you mentioned earlier, like personal brand. Like, how have you gone about building your personal brand and how has that helped your business?
I think I kind of have like an anti personal brand where like I'm actually trying not to show most things because I think I do value at the center of it. Like some of the most influential people in my life are the people who are the most discreet. And so in an age where we have to put everything out there, I'm very strategic about what I do and don't put out there. And so my personal brand for the most part, I'm just trying to show that I'm a guy and these are some of the things that I'm doing. And if you like my vibe, amazing, let's connect. And if you don't, that's totally okay. There's plenty of humans in this world you'll gel with. And that's kind of my personal brand strategy, to be honest with you, is like, that's it.
Got you. So then how I mean, now I know that you're like very established in your business, but then how did people find you to hire you and get to this point?
Yeah, in my world where I guess people would call it like a growth operator now. That term didn't even exist when I was starting this stuff. But in that world, to be honest with you, it's very much relationship driven. So you could advertise all day long that'll help your company grow and scale and whatever, and that's fine. It works. But the best thing is when somebody walks up and shakes your hand with another person's hand and says, "Hey, meet this guy. This is what they
Mhm.
did for us or for my buddy or whatever it is." And I like meeting people that way. So could my business be a lot bigger? Probably. But I genuinely enjoy the relationship aspect. So usually through events, masterminds, networking, travel, I've met people from all of those places. And one of the most underrated, I think, for me that I'm very happy I did in the past is I would always invest in more like premium environments. And so, like it doesn't matter what it is. Like I will pick the better gym to go to, right? I will always pick the better place to go, even if it costs a little bit more money, because we have to think about the other people who are also vetting that location. And so for me, I think some of the best contacts I've ever made have actually just been literally like at the nicest gym in Utah, for example, and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of where I've gotten all my relationships that have turned into business.
Mhm. And I know that you mentioned masterminds. What have been like the best masterminds or like coaching programs that you've invested in?
Yeah, wow. I've invested a lot. I'm probably a few $100,000 deep at the time of us talking about this, like in terms of investment into communities, coaches, groups, stuff like that. I would say for different things. So like I would have a different answer for depending on what we're talking about. So if we're talking about sales, I might send you to someone like Cole Gordon, even though he's like one of the largest. There's smaller guys as well that I would really love to see more people hear about. But again, I kind of like that they're small. So I have this thing where it's like I want to like blast certain things out there, but I also want to like protect some of the things before they get destroyed because that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, I have a couple buddies who run really cool sales mentorships. I'd probably refer people to them and say you need to get it into something like this, like not necessarily with
Mhm.
these guys. There's great ones out there, but you got to watch out for all the ones that are not so great, where it's just a
Mhm.
money game and it's not really about getting people together under an ecosystem that's beneficial for everyone. For marketing, to be honest with you, I'd probably always go back to Jeremy Haynes. I was in his inner circle for a couple of years, and Jeremy's a G. He's a legend. I'm pretty sure that guy is AI. He just operates at a whole nother level. So being in there around the theme of like get richer, although that doesn't fully vibe with like me on a daily basis, like I don't want that to be my mantra. I
Mhm.
don't think that's gonna lead me to, like, the most fulfilled life for myself, but being a part of that community was massive, like, I can say that outright.
Yeah, Brendan on the podcast yesterday also mentioned Jeremy Haynes, and I think he's still a part of his like inner circle. On another note, like what is your approach in terms of like, I guess, how is your business structured now? Are you a solo founder? Do you have business partners? And what is your opinion or approach on having business partners?
Yeah, business partners is challenging, so I think you just have to look at it like a marriage. At the end of the day, it really is. There's no way to spin it. There's no way to dress that up. You're literally getting married to that person. And it's funny because sometimes when you think that maybe even you've parted ways at some point in time, the truth is that it's kind of like having kids. Like the kids got to go somewhere, they got to go to someone's house. Like something's happening after a divorce and there's a lot of logistics involved. So the same happens with a business. Like, there's an asset. There are people attached to that asset, whether it's team members, communities, contacts and connections, or clients. There might be physical things attached, bank accounts and all that stuff. I think you gotta literally think about it like you're proposing to this person that you wanna spend potentially the rest of your life together, or at least the next 10 or 20 years. And if you're not cool with that, then maybe consider, a different arrangement. Maybe you can work more strategically together as two separate businesses. Like, why couldn't you tackle one project as two separate entities? Do you have to get married? And so I think I would think about it that way. I've had multiple business partnerships and some have gone extremely well and some have been extremely challenging. But I would think about it that way. Like, and then also, by the way, if you're married or you're in a serious relationship, you also have to understand that now you're going to be double married. And so you have to question, right, how that might actually affect your real marriage because it's a real thing. Like that person they're going to be around a lot. Yeah, you just have to understand that.
Interesting. What are some of the biggest or most important lessons that your father and grandfather have taught you about business that you carry with you today?
So my father got Parkinson's when I was 3 years old. I haven't really seen him in action most of my life, to be honest with you. He's an amazing man and he's absolutely a great father. He's done everything that he can within the bounds of like what he's kind of been given, the cards he's been dealt. My parents are both incredible human beings. So I can't say I would take business lessons from my dad necessarily, but what I could say is like, I mean, my dad's hard to kill. The guy's had Parkinson's for 30 years now, 31 years now, and he's still trucking. If you meet him, he's still telling jokes. He's still positive. Like, I mean, his body is just disintegrated completely. Like he's an unrecognizable human at this point in time. I mean, he can't do almost anything on his own at all. And to have that type of mindset, that attitude, it just kind of makes all your other excuses go out the window. You're like, what am I even talking about right now? Like, this guy can't pick up a cup. His mindset for sure. And then my grandpa, I'd probably learn a lot of things of what not to do. The dude was a serial entrepreneur, if you wanted to call it that. He had money everywhere in all sorts of things, but none of it was organized really. It was all just a crazy like SHIT show. I mean, my aunt actually came in and like cleaned all that up and organized it in her family. So yeah, I'd probably learn a lot of things not to do, but hey, that guy plugged away too. So I think both of them, the main thing that I learned is that neither one of them would ever give up.
Oh, I love that. It's really interesting. So then what are you most excited about accomplishing this year, either in your personal or professional life?
Yeah. I think money's cool. I've also been fortunate enough to be honest with you, to be around like levels of money that I never even thought existed when I was like a young person. And because I want to answer your question, but I want to caveat it really quick, which is that I had an ex-girlfriend that I was with for 7.5 years, and she became an au pair for a few billionaires and a few guys worth a few $100 million. And so I've seen things that I didn't even know existed, like lifestyles, because once they would meet me, they'd like me, we'd all get along, they'd fly me out. Sometimes they'd hire a nanny for the nanny and then we'd go out with them and like literally go hang out with them. We're going to their restaurants, going to their
Mhm.
clubs and their bars and their gyms and like everything with them. So I've seen the jets, I've seen the yachts, I've seen stuff that is like mind blowing that you see like only on Instagram. And I've been in it, I've been on it, I've eaten the food, I've had the chefs. Like it's pretty weird to experience that when I wasn't the one who generated those results, but it showed me a lot of stuff. I mean, all those people are incredible. Like if they were to ever see this video, I'm ultimately grateful for all the experiences we had and how incredible they are. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't meet a single one of their lifestyles that I would have traded for my own, which is pretty hard to say, pretty incredible to say. Because on Instagram, it's all perfect. And so it really did show me that happened when I was roughly about 25 years old, like 24, 25. I started getting those levels of experiences. And it genuinely showed me that I had no interest actually in that. And so money's cool. What are my goals? Sure, make more money. I can help more people. I could do more stuff. I could buy another toy. I've already had the motorcycles and like cool cars and stuff. So yeah, more stuff, more investments. Great. But I would say my main thing is like I'm super family focused now. So I am very intentional around who I spend time with and how much time. And my main thing is just like I want to be around family people who have kids. Like I want kids running around, I want dogs running around, I want like farmhouse vibes, uh, and that kind of thing. And so my goals really for right now is just like making sure I'm the type of man who's deserving of those environments, so I can be a good, like, steward of maintaining those and building into them and encouraging those environments too.
It's really interesting. So, what was it about seeing like the lifestyle of these billionaires that turned you off to it? Was it just that you don't necessarily need or will be happy with that level of opulence? Or was it like more money, more problems type of thing?
Man, yeah, they got a lot of problems. There's something that happens when I think you get to a certain level of money, which is that inherently it becomes destructive and corrosive to the relationships around you. And the reason why is because, like, I mean, I think there's many reasons why, but it's just too easy to, like, change your mind or do something completely different or just wake up one day and say, "I don't want any of this." And it's just, like, really, really easy at those levels to be like, "I don't need my marriage anymore. I could go find 10 women or 5 women or whatever," or vice versa. And it just becomes corrosive to a certain point where it's like, I feel like you've kinda lost a little bit of touch of reality. Theoretically, you're in reality, you're just in a different form of it, right? But you kinda lose touch with, like, what connects most people. Like, most people can't relate to you. And so, yeah, when you're in those ecosystems, those worlds for long enough, I think you literally just, like, lose a little piece of reality. Yeah, I would say that's what it is.
Hmm.
And it was some of those environments were incredibly difficult actually to be in, and yeah, more money is more problems, like, you're a target for everything. Like, someone anything happens, someone sues you, like, it could have been your best house cleaner ever that she's been, like, family for 20 years, and something happens, and all of a sudden, it's like, now you're fighting her in court, and I saw so much of that kinda stuff where it kinda blew me away, and I was like, "Man, this is challenging." Like, even if you treat people well, it's like things could really go south.
Is that also something that's influenced your desire to like sort of keep a low profile?
Yeah, I would say no. What's influenced it more is that the people I respect the most are the people who have it all going on and they don't need to talk about it. Even if they have the cars and the jets and the whatever, it's like they don't post them on Instagram. They got 400 followers. They never log in because their life doesn't need it. It's like I
Hmm.
like the concept of not needing any of it. If I have it as a benefit, great. But I love the concept of just like a literal normal life where I can have my nice stuff. When I say normal, I don't mean like, okay, buy a Chevy Tahoe. Like, dude, if you want the freaking whatever you want, the Rolls Royce and you can afford it, like amazing. Absolutely. Incredible car. Love driving them. But yeah, I like something about that. It's like you don't need it.
And so, have you also always been like family focused, or is that something that has changed in the last few years?
It's definitely changed in the last few years. I've always like wanted a family, but I always as a man, I was always like scared, like not ready. Like I think you tell especially men, we tell ourselves always, especially with how pricey things are these days, how costly things are. You start doing the math and you're like, holy shit,
Hmm.
I need like $1 million to raise a kid. Like liquid. It's like you actually don't. But, yeah, so I think for men, we're always, like, working towards this number because it's how we've been programmed in this society.
Hmm.
In the past, it would have been fairly easy, actually. It's like, "Hey, I really like this hilltop. I think we should build a house here. I'm gonna cut down the wood, right? You gather some food, and we have a house." But, just the way things are structured now, it's a little different, but yeah, I think in that past, I don't wanna glorify the past. The past was, like, very difficult in different ways for people, and money does as a leverage tool is amazing for us, but I do love the concept of, like, I wish I could just build a house and set up a piece of land, and it's my land now. That's where I live, and my family's there, and I have all the time just to, like, spend time with them. Like, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna build things with them. You're gonna hang out with them. You're gonna so give and take, but yeah, definitely more family focused now for sure. Like, no question in my mind. Like, I gotta see some little humans running around and be mind blown at like, I don't even own this thing. Like, what's going on here?
So, do you see yourself like starting a family and living in Colombia long term then?
That's a good question. I've turned this over so much. I think the perfect triangle, my buddy Gabe would laugh if he saw this because he said it to me and is like, I was thinking the same thing. The perfect triangle would be probably a house in Southern California, even though the taxes are horrendous and the politics and whatever, it's like, it's still Southern California. And I grew up there. So I would love a house in like Newport Beach or Laguna. And then to have some like farmland here would be incredible in Colombia. It's just so, as you know, the soil's so rich and you have your animals and all the stuff. And then probably spend some time in Europe too. That'd be like the perfect triangle. If you bounce around between those three places in the year. So yeah, that's my answer. Like, I don't think I would stay in Colombia 100% of the time. No, but it would be a good 3, 4 months out of the year.
Definitely. I'm wondering what your opinion is on like I know a lot of our friends, a lot of foreigners that live in Medellin, like have some of them have issues dating there because of the transactional like nature culture around dating where a lot of the local girls just expect, you know, time in exchange for money there. Like what's your opinion of that?
I have dated here. I've truthfully only dated 2 women here. I mean, I've gone on many dates with other women. I'll be honest with you, I had a good experience on every single date. Like, I didn't get the gold digger thing. I didn't get anything from any of those women. Like, those women for me, and I don't know if it's like how I'm showing up or whatnot, but the women for me, when I meet them, are like so down to earth, so relaxed. Even when the date, I never even had a date that went badly. So, like, the dates that I had, because I think it's more on the man to, like, create the environment than the woman, to be honest with you. I think she's just there to experience. So, really, if men are having a ton of bad experiences, I would probably question, like, how they're going about it, where they're meeting the women. 9% of the women I met here actually were from Bumble, ironically.
Mhm.
But I have a very clear I'm in marketing, right? So, like, I know how to position things. So, my profile is literally like a lead gen machine. I don't have a profile now. I'm dating someone right now. But I just set up like lead gen and I know the type of woman that I would want to meet. And so I set it up that way. I literally say, like, I don't drink, I don't party. You probably think I'm kind of boring. I'm just living my life. I want a family. And I say stuff like that, like very clear, very dry, very direct. And the women that I get back from that are the same. They're like, yeah, I don't really party. I don't really care about that. My life is fitness. I have amazing, healthy people around me. I want to be around family oriented people. I get the exact same things. No, I haven't had that issue.
That's great. That's great because I know a handful of friends out there who have been scopolamined, who've been robbed.
Yeah.
So maybe they
Yeah.
need to
No,
take
I've
some notes
none of
from
that.
you and just say that they don't party. Just that all of them want to party.
Yep. I've heard it all as well. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, that's great that you found someone, then you don't have to be on these apps anymore. It's hard out here for single people.
100%. That's my objective. No, literally, for anyone watching this that, like, wants to know how that works, I'm not kidding you. The objective has to be get off of the app as quickly as possible, and
Yeah.
by that, I don't mean, like, pick a person. I mean, like, literally, my line is like, "Okay, hey, I love your profile. It shows me you have a super good vibe." I say something about their vibe or their energy or whatever, right? That's it. They say, "Oh, thank you." And I go, "Yeah." And as quickly as I can, that quick thing, I just get that out of the way. It's just like, "Hey, you look cool." That's what it's like telling someone. And when someone says, "Hey, you look cool," you usually say, "Hey, you look cool too." And then you go, "Great, you want to grab a coffee?" Like, it doesn't need to be this long thing on apps. I I see people do that. I'm like, they're like, "Yeah, I've been talking to this person for 2 weeks." And I'm like, so when are you gonna so what I do is I literally just go, "Hey, I imagine you love hanging out on this app," or I say, "Hey, I imagine you don't love being here because I don't. So why don't you just send me your WhatsApp and go grab a coffee?" And then within like, I don't know, depending on when you connected with them, like 20 minutes, you could have their WhatsApp and yeah, you're going for a coffee. And then you just do that 4, 5, 6, 10 times. And as long as they pass your filters for your vibe check on their profile, I think that's why I've had like no bad dates.
No, I mean, I think that's great. And I think, well, I think also your stance and your outlook is very different from a lot of guys, especially a lot of guys in Medellin. A lot of them are going to party and like, meet the hottest girl. Doesn't matter. If they can't even speak the same language. And that's why they're opening themselves up to getting robbed and drugged and all of that. But like a lot of the guys out there aren't necessarily like wanting to start a family, or if they are, it's not anytime soon. And in my opinion, like I agree. I think the man is supposed to set the vibe, and I think women do bring a lot to the table, and it's a reciprocal thing. But a man should lead, but a lot of guys don't want to lead, so they're fine with dragging a conversation out. They don't want to ask you on a date. They want you to suggest something, or they'll ask you, "What did you have in mind?" I'm just like, you can't even plan a date. You plan our future, then do I have to do everything again?
Yep. Yeah,
So
very, very common problem.
maybe you should be a dating coach too, because apparently people out there need help. There aren't enough.
It's tough. Hey, being a guy today, being anyone today is difficult, but yeah, being a guy today, I think we haven't had like good solid examples of leadership. Like I had to develop that for sure. And I would say I'm still developing it, to be honest with you. Like there's certain things like the current relationship I'm in now, we'll have a couple things and like I've kind of had to help her see how to approach me in a different way to make me aware of things.
Mm,
The simple example I always use is like if let's say there's a woman and she wants her husband to take out the trash more, right? The absolute worst way to go about that from a man's perspective
mhm.
is, honey, you said you're going to take out the trash. Are you going to take out the trash? Honey, you said you're going to take out the trash yesterday. You didn't take out the trash. Those are like the most obnoxious things that a man could ever receive because he's like, yeah, you don't see the 10 things I just moved around to try to make this other stuff happen. So, like, the trash can wait. That's how the man is
Mm,
thinking. So, like, I think the way that women can help men get more into leadership roles, because I think men do need help with that because we're not being properly shown, and we don't really have strong central families anymore, is it's literally this simple. Baby, when you take out the trash, it's the sexiest thing in the world. How much that guy wants to take out the trash now. That guy, that guy will be like, hey, do we need to take out the trash today? Like, you know what I mean? So I think women have more power than they actually realize in influencing these things. And so I think as a woman, waiting right now is probably the worst thing you could do because if he's already not doing it, it doesn't mean he doesn't want to. It might just mean he doesn't know how. So yeah, women, you can help the men doing that, and how you approach them. And then men, obviously, yeah, it's like we just have to understand that the woman just wants to be a flower. So like we have to set the environment where she feels like she can fully open and be there and let the bees come.
I love that. I love it. That's a great metaphor. Be a flower. Great. Now I see why you're in a healthy, long relationship. So I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah.
Just to wrap things up here, then, what advice do you have for budding entrepreneurs and people that want to run their own business and live life on their own terms like you are?
Yeah, if I were to speak to my younger self, right? I don't think he would have listened. So, that's the first thing. But if he would have listened, it would have been like, "Hey buddy, the fastest route to getting somewhere is to be around people who have done it, not one time, but like multiple times." Because one time, was it luck? Was it skill? Was it accidental timing? Because there's no such thing really as like real intentional timing. Like, so were you in the right place at the right time? Was it just a chance meeting? Like, why did you end up with those results? But all of that goes away when someone's done it two times, three times, four times, when they've done something over and over and over again. And so my question would be, young Spencer or whoever listening, why would you want to go try to reverse engineer something from zero when someone has already figured out how to do it consistently? Like, to get a result more than one time means there's a pattern. Why wouldn't you learn from the pattern than try to create a pattern to then learn from? Because hindsight is 2020, meaning that you have to have data to make decisions. So like from a marketing perspective, a sales perspective, a business perspective, a life perspective, it's like you need data, which means it's already happened. Data is a lagging indicator. Data comes after. So data comes after a relationship. Why did the relationship end that way? Well, I could look at all the things and try to assess the data, why it happened that way. So I could learn from that. Marketing, I spent a bunch of money on ads, nobody purchased. Let's take a look at the data. Where did they fall off in the process? Did you turn them off? Did you send them one too many emails? Did you call them too slow? Did you blah, blah, blah? The data is going to show us. So my question is, why would any human in their right mind spend the time to create a whole slew of data, lived life, spend the money, live the time, do the things to just create the data to analyze a pattern, to maybe see it, maybe not see it, when there's someone who's literally done it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and they can just tell you the pattern. And so what am I saying practically? I'm saying if I could go back, I would literally be like, where's the most baller guy who's figured this out? And does he need coffee? I will serve his coffee. I will clean his freaking apartment, his house, his shoes. Like, how do I get around this dude, right? Do I need to be in the right environment, like what I talked about earlier? Do I need to sign up for the same gym as that type of guy? Do I need to hang out in the same hotel lobby, even if I can't afford to stay in the hotel as that type of guy, right? Like, where can I go and in what environments can I be to be around those people who have already analyzed the pattern? They have the pattern, they know the pattern, and they can do it over and over and over again. So I can just absorb that into my nervous system, and that becomes my reality. It's like I can't think of a better cheat code other than doing that. And I can't think of a bigger waste of time. Because if I look at my like 10 years plus in the agency world, I see guys who like get to where I'm at in like sometimes 6 months. And I'm like, what the F? And granted, the world wasn't was, the world is different. Tech is different. AI, cool. You can like chat GPT and Manus stuff now. But still, the point being, like, and I tell young people this all the time because I do have young guys that come to me for whatever reason. And I will tell them directly. They'll be like, "Oh, dude, what should I do?" And I'm like, "Step one, don't listen to me. Step two, you need to go find the guy who's done it 6 times. And I'm not kidding you. Find a way to work for him.
Hmm.
That's literally the fastest way. Because, like, dude, you want to suffer working for someone for a year, or do you want to suffer for 6 years or 10 years
Hmm.
to figure out the same thing you could have absorbed at a super high level, one that you know works? Remember, what I just said is if you live life and you create the data, it doesn't even mean you're going to pick a good pattern out of that. So that's high risk to me.
Yeah.
Go work for the guy. So that's literally what I would say is like, stop trying to be the entrepreneur. Everyone's like trying to be an entrepreneur. It's like, dude, if you're starting a candy company, like literally go get a job at a candy company. Try to work every position in that candy company while you're creating your candy company. Like, you don't need to learn it all from zero. That's what I would say.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Yeah, this was awesome. I love what you're doing too. I think it's super valuable, and like I've watched a bunch of your clips already, and it's neat. Like, do you know what you're gonna do off the back of this
You mean
besides the
after my
podcast?
podcast or
Yeah, like
well,
what's
yeah,
what's
so
gonna come out of
mhm.
it?
Yeah, so, after Creator Hub and we were talking before recording about how it's a full circle moment because you were there when I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start a podcast," and then I did. But at Hub, I realized, like, the opportunity in the creator economy, especially, because I also realized that only 7% of business podcasts are hosted by women and even fewer by Asian women, so there's just, like, a huge opportunity, and I sort of carved out my niche within entrepreneurship, AI, sales, talking about that, and those are the themes that I just automatically talk to almost every entrepreneur about. Everyone is utilizing the same thing. Everyone invests into themselves. Like, so it's cool to see those patterns come out through all these conversations now that I've recorded about 60 of these. And yeah, I'm just going hard on the content and on the opportunities that have come from it because since I've started being consistent, I've gotten more emails about paid content opportunities for like AI vibe coding apps, and I realize now that I'm need to start doing outreach to the brands that I want to work with. So that's my next step is now that I've like established everything, sort of figured out what I'm doing and what my brand is, what my voice is. Now I can go after the brands that I want to work with, show them what I've done and who my audience is and all of that. And then, next step is like I would love to get sponsorships for my podcast and partnerships and distribute it on more platforms because a podcast alone could be its own business, right? So I think there's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different ways that it can go. So right now I'm just focusing more on those and going hard on that. And it's funny because at first I thought like, okay, I'll start the podcast and the content to support my agency because I started this like little marketing agency, but then I realized over time doing this that I'm not really passionate about the agency. Not sure if I'll even really continue it, but I want all of the other things that I'm doing now to support my brand as opposed to the opposite, the other way around.
That's epic. Yeah, super
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, you took action. I mean, look at I don't know, what was that in September?
Yeah, I think it was like mid-August or something, and I started the podcast like early September, I think.
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, you've been doing it. Super cool. I love that. I love when people say they're gonna do something and they just freaking take all out action. Like, you're a badass.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's interesting, you just learn so much as you go because I was like, okay, like I realized that I had this subconscious limiting belief. I loved podcasts. I always knew I was going to start one, but I think I thought it was going to be harder than it actually was. And then once I actually got started, I was like, okay, well, it's easy because I have so many entrepreneurial friends, so I could just start talking to them and recording it. And then as I, went on and things grew, I realized like it's an exercise in confidence and putting yourself out there to be judged by the whole world. Anyone could see it, people from your whole hometown, the people that bullied you when you were a kid. You just kind of like open yourself to all those things. And like, luckily, the response has been very positive. But I realized I had to get over the fear of being seen and judged and torn apart by people because I think women are treated a little bit more harshly and critically when you put yourself out there. So it was just a lot of different things. But I think so it's also been sort of like a personal development exercise, which I had no idea going into it that it would be like that. But it's just given me so much more confidence because I'm just like, okay, if you don't like it, if you don't like how I look, who I am, what I stand for, then don't watch it. And I'm not going to stop. And, I know that there are always going to be people talking shit whenever you do something and put yourself out there. But I've just like, well, it's only going to get better. So if you are praying for my downfall, well, you're going to have to pray harder because it's not working. Like this, things are going really well. Like I've gotten so much fulfillment and joy out of this. And it's also just made me realize that people are being inspired. They are learning from these experts who I have on. And I also try to show like the obstacles that people overcome when they're on this path to entrepreneurship because it's not easy. Everyone has gone through something, whether it's like a lawsuit or losing everything, and they still overcome it and they continue to move forward. And so there is a way, especially in this world where so many people are being laid off, they're afraid of their jobs being taken by AI or whatever the case is, then it is possible to carve your own path. And like you said, the wheel has already been created. You don't have to try to reinvent it.
Yeah, literally, yeah, super well said. I love that too. I think you nailed it. I think you got a really cool niche going.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we'll have to do this again in like 6 to 12 months, see where you're at then. Maybe you'll have 3 kids running around.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, 6 months, it might be hard to pump out 3 unless there's
Triplets, you're good.
yeah, right, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want that. Yeah, no, Mel, seriously, thank you for doing this. This was super cool. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and, yeah, look forward to the next one.
Thank you. And everyone else, please tune into the next episode of the Breakthrough Blueprint.